This news update is brought to you by...
Say hello to Chelsea. Chelsea is a champion surfer, so she's accustomed to moving super fast, which is why she relies on super fast broadband brought to her through Flow's 100% fiber to the home network. It keeps her family sharing and surfing and saving each month. Combined, she bundles her Flow mobile, home phone, and TV services, so she can enjoy much more for much less, and so can you. Visit any Flow retail outlet, call 1-800-804-2994, or visit discoverflow.co to find out more. One-of-a-kind connection. This is how we flow.
It's Monday, March 21, and time for the Barbados Today Evening Update. So glad you can join us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Our top story, Police Commissioner Darwin Doughton will have to wait a bit longer to find out whether he can return to his post. The Court of Appeal today reserved a judgment in the case in which the top cop is requesting a mandatory injunction to remain on the job pending the outcome of his trial. Doughton was sent on administration leave back in June of 2013. Our Emmanuel Joseph was in court today and has a report.
The three-member panel of appellate judges have been urged by Doughton's lawyers to grant the injunction, which had been turned down by a high court about 3 years ago. One of Doughton's attorneys, Queen's Counsel Elliot Motley, argued that there is nothing in law or the Constitution known as administrative leave, and in any case, the Governor General, Sir Elliot Belgrave, had no authority in law either to send anyone on administrative leave or retirement, that the GG could only act on recommendation from the Police Service Commission. As a result, Motley contended that the actions of the Police Service Commission and the Governor General were illegal. But lawyer for the PSC, Alric Scott, asked the court to reject the application and award costs. From the Supreme Court, Emmanuel Joseph for Barbados Today.
Opposition Senator Dr. Jerome Walcott criticizes government for what he says are unrealistic figures put forward in the 2016-2017 estimates of revenue and expenditure. Debate on the Appropriation Bill 2016 is now in the upper house following deliberations in Parliament last week. Dr. Walcott told the Senate today that while he recognizes that the figures are merely an approximation of the actual amount, they do not reflect a true picture of the funds needed by the Frondell-Stewart administration to undertake various development projects.
For example, in these estimates, in this document, it speaks of an allocation of $21.8 billion for the Barbados Transport Board for the next financial year. And we know that this is impossible. I mean, $20 million was allocated last year, the last financial year. And in supplementary estimate number 9, in the other place, has recently voted $20.3 million as a supplementary for the Transport Board. So you already know that when you say it is $21.8 million allocated, that is far short of what you will require. NHC is provisioned for $5.3 million. The NHC has been asking, according to its brief, according to its program budget document, for a minimum of $10 million. That is what the corporation has been asking for. 5.3. You know it is not going to be enough. Sanitation Services Authority allocated $50.6 million. It is going to require at least $70 million.
He adds that the country has seen no fundamental changes in its economic situation despite 30 months of austerity measures.
Madam President, nothing at the end of the day has really changed fundamentally for those thousands of Barbadians who are struggling daily as they try to meet their basic needs, be it to pay their mortgages, to pay their rent, struggling to feed their families, struggling to pay tuition fees for their children at UE, indeed struggling in some cases to get a bath. There is most definitely a feeling of betrayal from a government that promised so much, that what I can say, that in Barbados, what we do have among the people is a feeling of a people with a sense of being betrayed, deceived, and disillusioned as we face the threshold of our 50th anniversary of independence.
Meanwhile, opening the estimates debate this morning, Leader of Government Business, Senator Maxine McLean, defended her administration's fiscal plans for 2016-2017, saying that the country has done well despite economic restraints.
Today I am proud to say, Madam President, that we have managed well, and I challenge anybody to demonstrate otherwise. Why do I say this, Madam President? We have done well for several reasons. One, we have been able over that period from 2008 until now to support our major productive sectors. We can recall, Madam President, the several debates, but I will use for illustrative purposes the many incentives given to the tourism sector. And because we were able to facilitate the sustaining of that sector, to allow it to maintain jobs through a number of incentives, etc., we were able to impact on the job situation. But we are also able, Madam President, to move from sustaining to charting a path for growth.
Some sporting news now. The Barbados junior squash team has one focus in mind. That's to take a clean sweep at the 34th staging of the Caribbean Amateur Squash Association Regional Junior Squash Tournament. That competition will take place in the Cayman Islands from July 14 to the 24. Playing in yesterday's Sagicor General National Junior Squash Championship Finals at the Squash Club in Christchurch, there were several top performances from some of those who will be in the Cayman Islands. Among them were victorious regional under-17 king Shermaine Griffith and highly talented under-15 queen Megan Best. Best defeated Caribbean junior #1 seed and reigning under-17 champion Amanda Hayward 11-7, 11-6 and 11-6 in the best of 3 sets in the final. The 14-year-old also won her required age group in a convincing fashion, 11-2, 11-3, and 11-3 when she played Jada Smith-Padmore in the under-15 division.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
To news from the region, President Barack Obama says the decades-old trade embargo on Cuba will be lifted. However, the U.S. president, who is in Havana for a 3-day visit, says he cannot say when that decision will be taken.
The embargo is going to end. When? I can't be entirely sure, but I believe it will end, and the path that we're on will continue beyond my administration. The reason is logical. The reason is that what we did for 50 years did not serve our interests or the interests of the Cuban people. And as I said when we made the announcement about normalization of relations, if you keep on doing something over and over again for 50 years and it doesn't work, it might make sense to try something new. And that's what we've done. And the fact that there has been strong support, not just inside of Congress, not just among the American people, but also among the Cuban people, indicates that this is a process that should and will continue.
And finally, Turkish observers arrive in the Greek islands of Lesbos and Chios to oversee an EU deal on sending migrants back to Turkey. Some 50,000 migrants are now in Greece, and there are reports that more are on the way. The agreement between the EU and Turkey is aimed at halting the influx of over 1 million irregular migrants. Meanwhile, 2,300 EU experts, including security and migration officials and translators, are still to arrive to help enforce the plan. Under the deal, no new migrant arrivals will be allowed to travel to the Greek mainland. And that's news and sports, but for the very latest, visit our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. Also, subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 99 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Frenella Wedderburn. Good evening.